a world where cities are in danger. Evil and monsters prey on the weak. There's only one hero strong enough to save them all. That hero's name is someone you and your friends can't figure out. There's only one way to settle this. Fight it out in Heroes Aren't Born!
Welcome to Heroes Aren't Born, a 2 to 4 player game about fighting other players and making yourself feel powerful within every game. The goal in this game is to strategize attacks and defenses against other opponents while learning new powers to become the main character of the comic book. Before we get things started, the version I'm using in this video is a print and play version, so everything you'll see is going to be different in its final production. And stay tuned for the end of the video because I will be showing how to use the digital version that you can find on Tabletop Simulator on Steam. With all that said, let's get things started. Let's start by setting up the game. First, grab the attack, defense, and event decks shown by the blue boxes on the top left. Shuffle each deck individually and place them in a row from top to bottom. Then draw 3 cards from each deck and place them in a row to the right. Next, grab the combo and sticky bomb decks and place them to the side. For sticky bomb cards, there's always one less based on the amount of players. For a 2-player game, we'll only place 1. This completes the training dojo. Time to pick your hero. Choose one of the 10 heroes from the game and review each of their unique abilities on the back. You can find out about each hero down in the description. For this example, we'll use Boxer and Gadgeteer. Make sure to grab any hero tokens or cards that are for your hero. Place your hero cards in front of you and any hero components to the left of it. Next, have each player grab a health/defense dial and an energy dial. Set your health to 80, keep your defense to 0, and your energy to 3. If this is your first time learning the game, set your health to 50 or any other amount. Now grab the starter cards and deal 8 training and 2 battle plan cards to each player. These are shown by the symbols on the top right and the name of the card type. Shuffle these cards and place them face down on the bottom right of your hero card. Draw 5 cards from your deck, giving you your starting hand. Then grab a double-sided reference card and place it next to you. You can also share 1 card if sitting close to each other. And finally, place all other tokens in an area for players to grab from. Now that you and your friends are all set up, it's time to learn how a turn order plays out. During each player's turn, they follow these 6 phases in order: Prep Phase, Learn Phase 1, Play Phase, Learn Phase 2, End Phase, and Recovery Phase. Let's start with the Prep Phase with Boxer. During your Prep Phase, reset your defense to 0, check tokens and cards in play, and shuffle a row in the Training Dojo if you want to. Shuffling a row lets you pick 1 row to shuffle back into their deck and draw 3 new cards from. The Boxer decides not to do it and skips this step. You can do this once per turn during your Prep or End Phase. Since this is the first turn, we can skip the Prep Phase. During your Learn Phase, you can use your cards to learn from the dojo. When learning, you'll use the currency known as Brain Power found on the bottom left of every card. Battle Plans have 0 Brain Power but has a card ability instead. We'll go over that soon. For this turn, Boxer has 4 training and 1 battle plan, giving him 4 brain power to use for learning. Let's look at the training dojo. The dojo has what's known as power cards with the power level on the bottom right, showing how much brain power is needed to learn them. These cards also provide brain power for learning. Let's now look at the hero class of each card. In this game, if you're the same hero class as the card you're learning, it costs 1 less, so this card would cost 3 for the Boxer. As we can see here, there are 4 power cards that are in the fighter class. But we're not done yet. If we look at one of Boxer's abilities, we can see that when they're at a certain health, they can learn every melee power card for 1 less. Since they're at that range, they get that added bonus. Looking back at the dojo, we can see there are 3 power cards that are melee attacks, one of them being a combo card. Unlike other power cards, there are multiple of these with an ability to either deal damage or to forget cards from your hand. There are also great early game cards providing 2 brain power. Just to quickly explain, forgetting means removing cards from your hand or deck. Some cards make you forget them after use, or they let you forget other cards. There are also some hero abilities that allow you to forget cards as well, so keep that in mind. With all that said and done, the Boxer uses their 4 brain power to learn 2 combo cards. They place the cards in their play area showing they're using them for learning. They then grab the cards they learned and place them straight into their discard pile face up. On your play phase, you can play cards and gain an item from the shop. When playing cards, you'll use the ability in the white box and spend any required energy it has shown on the top left. There's also the item shop where you can gain useful items, but the Boxer doesn't need it now, so we'll go over that later. Boxer decides to play his battle plan for one of its abilities. They turn it to the side showing they're playing it. They decide to gain the defense and turn their defense style accordingly. This was also a good idea since the Gadgeteer gains tokens if the Boxer has any cards left in his hand. Learn Phase 2 is the same as Learn Phase 1, and with no cards left, they skip this phase. During the end phase, remove status and brainpower tokens, discard all cards in your hand and play area, and optionally shuffle the dojo if you haven't this turn. Then lastly, on your recovery phase, you'll draw 5 new cards from your deck and reset your energy back to 3. This then passes to the Gadgeteer's turn. Since this is their first turn, they skip their prep phase and move to their learn phase. They look at their hand to see that they have 5 brainpower for learning. Looking at the training dojo, Gadgeteer can see that there are 2 cards in the Mind class. Gadgeteer decides to use 3 of his trainings to learn Meditate. When a player learns from the dojo, replace the learned card with a new one from that deck's row. If we look at their top ability, if Gadgeteer learns power cards with 5 power level or less, they may put that card into their hand. With that in mind, Gadgeteer puts Meditate straight into their hand instead of their discard pile. On their play phase, they decide to play Meditate to draw 2 cards from their deck. It looks like Gadgeteer didn't draw any more cards for learning and doesn't want to play them either. They finish their play phase and skip their second learn phase to gain their tokens on their end phase. They then place all cards into their discard pile and go to the recovery phase. They draw 5 cards and gain back up to 3 energy. If you ever run out of cards, you would then shuffle your discard pile and place them face down, drawing your remaining cards. The Gadgeteer finishes their turn and passes it back to Boxer. And that's pretty much it. Follow these 6 phases to be the last hero standing to win the game. Now let's get into a little more detail how a play phase can play out. First, let's look at the 3 rows of power cards. Attacks are self-explanatory and deal damage to other players. Melee and projectile deal direct damage, while AoE attacks deal damage to all other players. Defense are also self-explanatory and protects you from damage. Some cards can have reacts and passive abilities. And events are cards that can help with deck thinning, deck control, drawing cards, adding bonuses to other cards, and gaining energy and health. Some also have reacts and passive abilities. Some of these cards can also be 2 hero classes, giving the hero discount to both of those heroes. Some cards can also have these bottom text. Cards can have one of the 2 bottom texts. When it reads, "This card can't be modified," that means you can't do or play anything towards it that makes it stronger, like playing it twice or adding damage. And if it reads, "Keep out for X turns," that means after you play that card, you keep it in your play area for that many turns. You then discard it at the end of said turn. Soon your hand can look something like this. Now let's talk about attacking. When attacking players, you'll play your cards one at a time, playing all their effects and then choosing which player to deal damage to. In this example, they don't have any reacts to play, so we can play our cards freely. At the end of your play phase, you check and make sure if they have any react cards they can play now, but since they don't, they take all the damage. But what if your opponent did have a react to play? Well, let's see how it would play out. Reacts are only played during a round if in your hand. Some are played at the end of their play phase or when the conditions are met. In this example, we'll play an attack and see if they have any reacts. In this case, they have counter, which allows them to ignore melee attacks and deal back double damage. They play their counter and place it in their play area, making us now take that damage instead. With that out of the way, we can continue with our play phase and play any more attacks, and since they don't have any more reacts, they can take all the damage that we just played. Now let's look at the same thing with a passive ability in play. Passives are played during your play phase and stay out in your play area until the beginning of your next turn. Some can either stop other players from doing certain actions, dealing back damage, or giving status tokens. In this example, we'll play our attacks like normal. We can see that our opponent has spikes as his passive. This allows them to deal back 4 damage for every melee attack we play towards them. We then take that damage since our attack was a melee attack, and since we only have melees, we choose to end our play phase. Defending is the same as when we used Battle Plan earlier. Any cards that give you defense, you'll gain that much towards your defense style. When a player attacks you when you have defense, you'll take the damage towards your defense first and then any remaining damage towards your health. Remember that you reset your defense to 0 on your prep phase. Now let's look at the tokens. Let's start off with status tokens. There are 4 types to keep track of throughout the game. Burn deals 1 damage towards you after every power card you play. Freeze reduces the damage and defense of each card by 1. Paralysis makes every card you play cost 1 extra energy. And Poison makes you draw 1 card less during your recovery phase. This information can also be found on the back of your reference card. And then there are Brain Power tokens, which are the same as using a card for learning. These are only gained by hero abilities. Finally, let's look at the item shop. Each hero has one on the bottom right of their hero card. These can help you during your play phase and are gained the same way as learning cards. There are only 3 items. Energy Drink allows you to gain back all the energy you wasted during this turn. Cure allows you to remove all status tokens from your area. And lastly, Protein Bar doubles the damage of a melee or projectile attack you played. Now let me show you the digital version you can play. To find it, you must have Tabletop Simulator purchased and find the game in the workshop, which is titled Heroes Aren't Born TTS version. This game will have everything from the rulebook to the cards and tokens. First thing you want to do is click your name on the top right and click Change Color. From there you can choose which color seat to play at. Once everyone has chosen a color, you'll click the Select Heroes button in the middle of the table. This will show all the hero cards in the back side to show their abilities. To select a hero, you'll go back to your play area and find the list of the hero names. Click on one of the heroes you want to play as and it will pop up right in front of you. When you're set on your hero, make sure to grab any of their tokens or cards that are found on the side of the table. When you're done, all players will click on their ready buttons and the game will set up the rest. You should have your starting hand and deck ready to play. The training dojo will also have a shuffle button and a refresh button. All of this is thanks to Generic on the official Discord server. And there you have it. That's how you play Heroes Aren't Born. Once you know how a turn order goes, it's super simple, super easy, and super fun for all players. You can also find this information in the rulebook down in the description below. Thanks for checking out and supporting the game, and I hope you enjoy playing.